I'm Natasha Jarosak, a mid-sized law firm marketing manager with Thomson Reuters. Welcome to Leadership in Action, a series of short, timely, and relevant interviews with managing partners on issues important to running a successful mid-sized law firm. These podcasts are part of the Managing Partner series presented by Thomson Reuters in affiliation with the Managing Partner Forum and are hosted by John Remsen Jr., CEO of the Managing Partner Forum and president of the Remsen Group, an Atlanta-based consulting firm that works exclusively with law firms. In each podcast, John will interview a different managing partner on subject matter revolving around the Managing Partner series topic of the month. Our guest this month is Peter Marlette. In addition to his responsibilities as a managing partner, Mr. Marlette is a senior partner in the firm's litigation department, where he devotes a substantial portion of his practice to the defense of high-exposure products liability and toxic substance litigation. Welcome, John and Peter.
Well, thank you, Natasha, and thank you, Peter, for being with us for this podcast on technology and law firm efficiencies. But before we get started, why don't you tell us a little bit about Damon Morey?
Damon Morey is about an 85 lawyer firm now. We have an office in Rochester as well as suburban Clarence, New York, which is outside of Buffalo. Primarily a statewide practice, although many of us, including my products group, have a national practice as well. We have very much, we went into a strategic plan for the firm about 7 or 8 years ago, and one of the things that was one of our primary goals was to become as the most technologically advanced firm that we could be. We just saw that the future was in technology, that obviously if we were going to service our clients the way that they were expecting to be serviced, and everyone wants to, meet the expectations or exceed the expectations of clients, but obviously servicing and responsiveness is something that's critical, and we just decided that was something that we were going to, through technology, we're going to make a priority. Our technology department really has been charged with, we want them to improve the baseline of everyone, but also I want them to help improve the most technologically savvy as well as the relative beginner too.
Did you find it a little generational in terms of embracing technology, younger folks being a little more eager to go along with this than some of the more senior lawyers?
Well, certainly it is, it's inbred. It's part of the DNA of the younger attorneys. It's just second nature to them. They were brought up with it, so
it's amazing.
If you didn't do it, they'd be disappointed in you. As far as the older attorneys, it's funny. I've got a couple of older attorneys who are as technologically, savvy as anybody, and then certainly there are a lot who are, who struggle to maintain the curve, but with training and obviously it's something that we have as an expectation.
Mm-hmm.
They've caught on too.
What prompted me to think of you as we were looking at this topic was some things you shared at an Alpha conference. Damon Morey is part of one of the law firm networks called Alpha International, and Peter chairs the Managing Partner Group, and I understand you're stepping in to become chair of the network as well. But you shared some stories that I thought were really, they captured my attention, and I was hoping you'd be willing to share them with our audience in terms of the iPads and some of the other things you did.
About 5 years ago, when the iPads first came out, I was one of the first I didn't stand in line over a weekend, but I bought one within the first week or two that they came out, and I loved it. And I used it for, obviously this reading books, reading the New York Times and the Wall Street Journal, and watching a movie once in a while and books. But I also used it work related, and it was great to be able to use it for email. And I 6 or 7 months later, was in the Apple store, and it was great. And I came back from that not only buying an iPad for my wife, but I called the management committee together the next morning, and I said, you know what, I use it. I love it. It makes me a better lawyer. We should all have these, and we should buy them for them. And we put the wheels in motion in very short order. And we purchased, I think we bought 100 iPads in our first round. It was kind of fun because we kept it a secret. One evening, I sent out an email to all the attorneys saying, there's going to be a meeting of all the attorneys in the, main reception area at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. And in any event, we had them all with a big wrap on them, and we kind of took the wrapping off, and we had some press there, and we'd given them a heads up, and they were interested. And basically, we rolled it out that we were going to give them all as a number of things, as a perk, as a thank you for doing a good job, but primarily as a tool to help them service the clients better and be more responsive and be a better, more informed attorney. And it went great. It was really, really appreciated by the attorneys in the firm. We got some terrific publicity. We couldn't buy publicity like that from our the Buffalo Business First, which is our local business paper, and it was also picked up in the Buffalo News as well. It was new. We were one of the first firms to do that. Another thing, we talked about training, John, a little while ago.
Mm-hmm.
While I had all the boxes and everyone was all excited to get them, I said, but you can't have it until you get training on it. And remarkably,
big collective sigh in the room.
Well, there was a collective sigh, but we let them sign up for them, and training started immediately from our IT department. And I think it was by the next afternoon, everybody had been trained on them.
Wow.
Because everyone was anxious to get them. But we didn't want to just give them this tool and have them not be able to do anything with it. So it's been great. It's worked out well. We have we've continued to do other things. The iPad story was just a good example of our commitment to technology, of the partners' commitment to invest in the future and invest in our attorneys.
You shared that you even attracted new clients who read about this in the press.
I got so many positive notes and emails and comments from business people in the community who saw it in the press, and it actually yes, there's a couple of clients people that I knew, but people I didn't have real strong relationships with, who because of that story. And actually a couple of them businesses who wanted to know what we did, how we did it, and the benefits, and how might it help them. And I ended up having lunch with them, and it ended up developing into a business relationship. So it's very positive. Wow,
incredible. Now that you've sort of set precedent in Buffalo, Western New York, in terms of some of these investments in technology, are you finding other firms sort of copycatting what you've done?
There was one of our major competitors, the managing partner, is actually a friend of mine, and they were very, very much not happy that we had beaten them to the punch on this technology. I'm not sure they thought of it quite yet, but they were. I know that their head tech person got a talking to about how come
we're not doing this.
Yeah, exactly.
Uh-huh.
So, you know what? It still works out nicely for us. It's been however many years, 4 or 5 years since we did that. We still, every new attorney at Damon Morey gets issued an iPad the first day they're here. They get trained in it. It's not, having an iPad isn't as cutting edge as it was at that point. But the capabilities of the people is that it gives them get better and better, and it's also nice. I had the experience. I was on flying somewhere last week, and I as I do, get on the plane, and I'm sitting there, and I pull out the iPad. It's got the Damon Morey logo and our name, and I was flying out of Buffalo. And the guy sitting next to me goes, "Oh yeah, you're Damon Morey." He goes, "I remember that story."
Wow.
And it was, I want that. I want that happening, and I want it every time one of our attorneys goes into court or goes into a deposition, and they pull out and they have that logo, front and center on it.
That's great. Thanks so much for sharing. And I think, my two takeaways, hearing you discuss this are, one, the importance of training and investing in that training and development. And something that really, really important. Just don't give stuff out, but people have to know how to use it and maximize it. And then being first out, willing to try something new, something different, something that gets noticed and people talk about. And so often I find in the context of law firms, question one is, who else is doing that? Who else is doing that? Firms seem to be very, very reluctant to be first out. They're willing to follow, but don't want to, be the first one out of the box. So congratulations to Damon Morey for taking the lead, and look at all the great things that happen when you're willing to invest in your people and your firm, both anticipated benefits and a lot of unanticipated benefits. So, Peter, again, thank you so much for sharing, being a part of this podcast series, and let me kick it back to Natasha.
Thanks, John and Peter. I appreciate you coming and joining us today, and thank you for tuning into this edition of Managing Partner Series, Leadership in Action. For more information and resources, visit our microsite at www.legalsolutions.com/managing-partner.